CFF presents 1% Better, a podcast about
CrossFit, nutrition, coaching, mindset, and community.
Join us as we embark in casual conversation to shed light on what life is like within these black and yellow walls. With episodes coming at you every Monday, you can follow along with Coach Whitney and Taryn as we talk shop about all things CFF. Rough start. Okay, episode 39. Today we're going to rehash all of the quarterfinal workouts and that whole experience and sort of just revisit everything that happened a couple of weekends ago.
Last weekend.
Yeah, this one.
Well, depends when you hear this, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
Was it all you wanted it to be?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I wanted it to be this go around. It was so much different than what I wanted it to be years ago, right?
Do you wish years ago when you did it was the process was this way? Because it wasn't this way. This is new. This is brand new.
As in, like, not one workout a week and instead just get all the workouts and do them like that? Or just,
I guess, in sort of like the qualifying ways, because there was never a quarterfinals. It was you either went to regionals or you didn't go to regionals.
Yeah. I actually kind of really like the sequence, the way that it went this year. Like, I think the tests and the open were pretty awesome. And, you know, as much as we like opportunities like muscle ups to come where people might get their first muscle up, like they had that opportunity with the pull-ups, and then it tested heavy weight with the lift, the complex. Yeah, I think it was well-rounded for what it needed to be. And then once you got into these quarterfinal workouts, it tested the things that, like, if you're going to make it to the next level, these are the things you have to do. So I think just with in regards to like the levels, I think they were pretty good tests for that.
But do you wish it was like that back in like 2013, 14, 15, when you were deep into this?
I don't know. That's a hard answer. It's a hard question. It's hard to say because things are so different. There wasn't this many people back then either. You know, there was maybe like 1,000 women in Canada West, and that's all I had to compete against versus 6,000 in all of North America.
Yeah. In
this quarterfinals, for example, you know? So no, I don't actually. It was very stressful before, but I mean, this could be equally as stressful too if you're actually trying to make it.
Coming from a different point of view towards it. Let's just go back to the open. What was required of you in the open to make it to quarterfinals? Just in case people don't know.
You have to be in the top 10% of the continent. So top 10% in North America. And so they figured that was about 6,000 women. So that's neat.
That is neat.
And I actually didn't filter the leaderboard to see where I stood in terms of Canada. I probably should have before we started this, but I don't care.
Oh, well.
So
yeah. It's interesting how like you went from like caring, like eat, sleep, breathe CrossFit Games to now it's like, I don't care.
I don't even follow them on social media, like the CrossFit Games athletes. Like when I decided to retire, I axed that entirely off of everything. I maybe kept like one or two people around because I actually enjoy watching their stuff, but like I am so uninvested in it and it feels so freeing when something that is also consuming like it was, and then you just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Not get rid of it, but.
And like that's CrossFit as a sport, not CrossFit as a means to improve your health
because
and
that's
well-being.
Still a large part of my life.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I would never go back to doing anything else. But yeah, just as a sport, you know, I know, like recreationally, I can keep up with that. The occasional, that's fun here and there. Yeah. Nobody ever wants to be my partner or anything, but
I'm your partner.
I just always have to fight for somebody to be my partner.
It's intimidating. You compete in the quarterfinals. Okay, so you have 5 events. Let's start with event 1. You did that Thursday night.
Yeah, so that was handstand push-ups, both kinds, and double unders, and then some moderately challenging loaded dumbbell hang power cleans at 35.
And some shoulder to overhead in the second
in the second one.
Yeah.
Actually, like looking at this workout, I really like it. But when it came out, I was like, oh man, my strict handstand push-ups like 3 weeks ago, I couldn't even do one. Like just, and I was also doing them to the ab mat, you know, just that hasn't been a focal point of mine. So I was kind of bummed in a way that like I knew I wouldn't be able to do that workout as it was intended, which that's another conversation, right?
We have this conversation. We'll circle back to
that. I slugged my way through that one and actually surprised myself with what I did achieve. Like I didn't think I was going to finish the first 3 rounds just based on the last couple of weeks of how my handstand push-ups have gone. But I think I did like 8 in the first set. Like I was pumped about that. And my double unders were unbroken. Also that part was really good. And then when I finished the first 3 and then I go to kick out for the first set of kipping ones, and like in my brain, I'm like, I hope you remember how to do this. But then it just felt effortlessly.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
You did like it?
And actually like midway through that workout, because that was the first workout and there was a small group gathered to watch me. That was like when I really kind of clued into how this weekend was going to go for me and what I wanted to get out of it. And I know that when I finished the workout and I turned around to those people and I was like, that was the first time in all 6 or 7 years that I've done this, that I legitimately heard the crowd or the people like cheering for me. And, you know, I'm kicking up, doing a couple handstand push-ups and coming down and kicking back up. And so like, as I would kick down, I'm just kind of standing there, resting my arms, you know, just kind of basking in that. And usually that's something that in the last event, you kind of
take it all in.
Yeah, but it was just a cool moment because I was like, it's taking me this long to finally actually hear that stuff. And it's just because I'm not as zoned in and as serious as I used to be. So that was a powerful moment for me.
You said that you kind of like had this understanding of like why you're doing this. Like what was your kind of
It was for them.
Your why, like your why or like what you were getting out of this.
It was for the members. Like because I did not want to do this. You know, I just, maybe like half of me wanted to do it just because I had the opportunity to do it. But like, I knew how bad I was going to feel come Monday or Sunday even. Like I knew my legs are going to be sore and my abs are going to be crazy sore. And, you know, you have those conversations with yourself, like, is it worth it? But like, as I'm listening to them cheer and everything, that's when it became worth it for me. I was like, yeah, a lot of these people they weren't around when I was going through that. And some of them were, you know, and so just everybody's always been so supportive of anything that I've done. Even like it was when it was refereeing or whatever, like these guys have always been so supportive. So I owed it to them. That was kind of what I got out of that moment.
Cool. And then Friday morning rolled around.
Ooh, number 2.
Friday morning.
That one was hard.
So GHD sit-ups, rope climbs, pistols.
60, 6, 60, and then 55, 50, 40. And I thought it ended after the 40s, but nope, there was 30s.
Yeah.
And so I think I said to you before we started, I'll be lucky if I finish, like it'll take me 10 minutes to finish the first 60.
Yeah.
And I had a 20-minute time cap. And I also haven't done that high volume of GHD sit-ups. Like I've been doing sets of like 5, at most like 10 in my workouts here and there once a week, never mind 150 or 200 of them.
And pistols too.
Also
like
I have,
last time you did a pistol?
And rope climbs, like 2 years.
Yeah.
So all in all, that workout
went pretty well.
Was like, whoa. But yeah, then I got on the GHD and started flying. I did 30 right away. I'm like feeling awesome. And then as I'm doing this, I'm like, this is a bad idea. What are you doing? You get caught in the moment though. But hey, then I got rope climbs done. I chipped my way through pistols. And then I started into the 40s.
Yeah.
And then the time cap went and I was like, this is awesome.
Did you say that to yourself later that day and the next day?
And even during the workout, because you get off the GHD and you go to the rope climbs and to try and tuck your legs in a rope, like in that type of climb, my hip flexors were so shot and I couldn't get my knees up as high as I normally would.
Yeah.
You know, in practice, it's taking me 1.5 to get to the top, and here it's taking me like 2.5.
It was interesting when I was commentating because we have a lot of members who've never rope climbed before and they don't understand, because immediately you think rope climb, you think arm strength, but it's like, no. It's a lot of legs and, like you said, a lot of hip flexion, and and it surprised me. I don't know why I didn't expect that, but I got up once and I come down and I was like, let's adjust the plan here. It looked super uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. Like more so after, but not even like your movement looks super uncomfortable, just like watching it take over your face. It was like, it did not look enjoyable.
The last time so I've only ever done like high volume GHDs like that twice.
Oh yes.
Once at regionals in Portland, and it also had 275 pound deadlifts for 7 reps tied with it. So that was like my
That's
1
like
rep
your
max
worst
at the time.
nightmare
Yeah,
right there.
it was an
Literally.
awful workout. I think I was the last to finish on that workout. And it also had an air run with it. And my buddy Whitney from PA, she was just beating the crap out of me because she's a good runner and a good deadlifter too. But anyways, so that time, I forgot how many JHG sit-ups there were. But then when I first started CrossFit.
Yes, please share this story because I referenced it in our video.
So I always, anytime that GHG sit-ups come up in our class workouts, I usually bring this story up, or it's always in the back of my mind as I'm like giving scaling options and trying to get the seriousness of this movement across for everybody. But we're all familiar with the workout Annie, which is 50 down to 10 of sit-ups and 50 down to 10 of double unders. And when I was like 19, 20 years old, and you think you're the fittest little hot shit there is.
Invincible.
Yeah, invincible. I went to CrossFit Regina because I was training with their team. I was part of their team for the first regionals that there was. And I was like, oh, I've never been on a GHD sit-up before, so I'm going to go and do Annie, but with GHD sit-ups.
Like, did you choose that on your own?
Yeah, like I did it.
Thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I did our like team workouts, and then I was like, hey guys, I want to do this workout. Does anyone join me? And they were all like, no, that is the dumbest idea. I'm like, cool, I'm going to do it by myself then.
Did you have your CrossFit level 1 at that time?
Yeah.
Okay, just continue.
I think, yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure. Oh, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
This would have been in the summer, and I would have got it in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll circle back to that in a minute. All right, keep
so
going.
Then I hop on and I'm repping out 150 GHD sit-ups, and like you don't think anything of it in the time because at that time it's not that hard.
Yeah.
But when it hits you the next day and you have this gigantic belly like you're pregnant and you are so full of fluid and you realize you're like, what the heck is going on with me? And like I had done my research of CrossFit prior to you know, so I knew what rhabdo was. That was my first experience with true rhabdo and like a very serious degree of it too.
Yes.
So that lasted 3 weeks. Like I was drinking 4 or 6, if not more, liters of water a day to try and get like filter that through my system. I couldn't sit at work. I couldn't stand. I couldn't lay down. There was no comfortable position.
Do you think in hindsight, do you think you should have gone to the hospital?
I wasn't peeing Coca-Cola yet. But there were moments where we had considered it.
I was thinking more like IV to get like to pump you full of fluids. Reason why I asked about your level 1, for those of you who don't know, that is like a big thing they cover in the level 1 and how to avoid giving your athletes rhabdo. So I feel like if you had had your level 1, you might not have opted for that.
I don't know. That was like a pure ego moment.
Yeah.
Which is why I pay so much attention to it when we're teaching the movement in class, because, you know, there's a lot of people that can rip through regular sit-ups or weighted sit-ups or toast the bar or stuff. But when you have it, it's more of an exposure thing. And then once you have exposure, you have to build the capacity of the volume up.
Yeah.
So just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Like that's cool. You can do a full range of GHD sit-up, like, but if it's your first time,
not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Except when it was my first time, you let me do it. She let me do 50 GHD sit-ups with her one time when it was my first time. I was fine. I had no repercussions of that.
I don't always make the best coaching decisions.
No, and you weren't coaching me at that time. We were just working out together.
There you go. So you're on your own.
I was brand new. What are you talking about? I was like less than a year in. Yeah. Anyway. So how were your abs and your hip flexors and all that stuff feeling after that workout?
I was wrecked. Like, and it was my legs most noticeably right away. Mm-hmm. Like my quads were smoked. And then I knew my favorite workout was coming up later, and I just was trying to do everything I could to
recover,
to get food in me, to mobilize. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you were mobilizing a lot.
Pretty much like straight through. Yeah, I didn't stop.
Because we went for a walk, came back, you had a meeting, you were mobilizing. We had a meeting, you were mobilizing. then you went straight into workout number 3.
Yeah. Which was the best one.
I don't know if our membership agrees with you on that one because they did it the other day.
120 wall balls and 120 calorie row.
I disagree very much.
Hey, these are right in my wheelhouse. These are my 2 favorite, like top 5 favorite movements, 2 of them.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed in our membership when you posed the question of which one are you?
Yeah.
That shocked me.
That one shocked me too.
I feel like we've talked about this a lot in class. I'm pretty sure I tell everybody in foundations when they do the wall ball day, it's like wall balls are not for everyone. I hate wall balls. Taryn loves them. Like that's part of my spiel. So shame on you guys for not remembering.
Well, I said, like, you can tell who pays attention.
Yeah, it's like, it's very evident that you love thrust. Okay, so thrusters in general, which a wall ball is essentially a thruster, and then rowing is like your jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was pumped when I saw this one. When I saw it though, I didn't consider how I was going to feel from everything else. Yeah. And so it wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be, or as I thought it was going to be. Definitely was a struggle. And I also like screwed up my own plan too when I started also. So
you did like 30.
Yeah, my plan, and I just had said it to Mark before we started. I was like, I'm going to do sets of 15 and I'm going to count to 3 as it drops. Like that was my plan because I just wanted to be consistent on the wall balls and know that I could send it on the row. No, walk out there, do 30 and I was feeling good as I'm doing them, but it was the same thing as the JC. I was like, this is a bad idea. Why are you not stopping? You just keep going. So then I drop the ball and I pick it up to go again and I get to like 6 and my legs all of a sudden just fill with lactate. They're like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe in like a month or 2, you can redo that workout for the members.
Fresh.
Show them how it's really done, or how you wanted it to really be done.
It's meant to be done unbroken. Like those 120, that's just a mental grind to be done unbroken.
Could you do 120 wall balls unbroken?
The one time I did, my actual carrying time is 4:05, and I did it in like 2 or 3 sets. And that was probably purely strategic. It's just mental. You need to be able just to calm your mind. And I think wall balls create a lot of panic for people.
Yes.
But it's just a rhythm. You just got to find the rhythm. It's like overhead squats. You just got to find the rhythm.
Yeah. And I was talking in my commentary for this video about like getting better at wall balls and like choosing that lighter wall ball to help establish that rhythm, to help establish that more positive mindset. So it's not this continuous, I'm choosing the 14 or the 20 and I can only do sets of 5 because it's now like destroying me. And then your mental like space changes because now you're getting super negative and that just doesn't serve any good. So like dropping that wall ball to a lighter one and ripping out some larger sets to build more confidence, to build that capacity, like that is a great approach. Again, like check your ego at the door and like take that time. You
get more bang for your buck with that approach. Just even as a human being and physiologically speaking, you get more from your workout when you focus it like that versus slugging away at a 20-pound wall ball just because you can. I mean, you should. How many times we're gonna say that today? That's 2. Count that ticker. Okay. That's 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna check down here. Okay, so that ended Friday night. Then you came back in Saturday morning for a 4-rep max front squat.
Oh, that is just. I hate front squats. And then my legs were just mangled, and at this point, my like soul on the inside is taking a hit. You know, you're like, why am I doing this?
You have a soul left.
Starts to creep up a little bit higher. You know, like, is all this pain actually really worth it?
I'm not gonna lie. Like I was watching from the side because I had a PT and we planned it so that while you were going, she was resting. She'd go while you were resting, so we could kind of watch at the same time. Your technique wasn't too bad.
It was
pretty good.
I'm not a bad front squatter.
No, but we had talked the day before about what that was going to make it potentially look like, so I was waiting for that. But it wasn't too bad.
Pretty good at Arnold shoulders.
Yeah.
But it's just not my favorite movement. I'm not very strong in that position. It's more of a confidence thing, I think, too, for me. I've never had a very high front squat, which means is also the same. Like my clean is not very high. It's just not my favorite position to be in. And I also like haven't hit a 1 rep max type of movement for a long time. And so again, too, just lacking some confidence in this and what that was actually going to look like. And then you couple that with how sore you actually are, like that, I would say that workout was probably like more mental than it was physical. You know, you're trying to convince yourself that to get under that bar, and not only just once, but you got to do it 4 times.
I think like trusting your body to support you under that load too. Like when your front side and your back side are smoked.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And
that's a very like midline stability dominant movement. Yeah. And you just did 200 GHD sit-ups. You got no abs left. So that was very hard. But you know, I appreciate it again too. Like everyone got in real close to me and made my little corner back there pretty awesome. And I just kind of did my own thing. Like it was incredibly painful. Like every squat felt like it was 300 pounds. But I surpassed my expectations for myself too. Like I hit 196 for 4. Like I did 205 for 1 because I thought it was 195. I actually didn't do the math right. Which I also haven't hit a 200-pound front squat in a very long time too, I don't think so. And to be that sore and do 196 for 4, again, like I was pumped with my effort and what I was able to actually put out. Surprised me. Adrenaline though, you know?
There was kind of some chatter amongst the members of like, why is a front squat an event in this? Like, there's nothing fancy about it, right? Like it's just a 4 rep max front squat. So why do you think it was appropriate to be?
Well, they're trying to test like all different domains of fitness, right? And like with strength being one of them, they want something that's like purely strength bias. And when you look at the history of the games workouts and even in regionals too, there's always been something that's been strength bias. Like, you know, in my regionals, we did hang snatches, or one year I had full snatches. There's deadlifts, I think, one year, but games like they did the CrossFit Total last year. So
when I think like a more, I'm going to say strict, as opposed to like a dynamic Olympic lift stuff too. Like it's different. Yeah. Athletes different ways.
You know, and you had the complex in the open, and that's an entirely different approach than just go and hit a 4 rep max.
Yeah.
And then even too, you look at this is a 4 rep max versus a 1 rep max, which are 2 entirely different workouts and will have 2 different outputs also. Yeah. So, I mean, that's an interesting sort of angle at it too. Yeah.
No. I thought it was a good test. Like I thought it was just a neat one to throw in there.
Did you see some of the numbers that some of the other people were putting up? No, I didn't. Like the men were putting up over 400. And there was a lady, I forget where she was from, did like 335 or something. 325, or maybe she didn't finish it off, but she got 315 for sure.
Just was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can't even deadlift that. Front squatting it.
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome. Okay, so then it wrapped up Saturday evening with snatches and super tall burpee box jump.
This is a great workout. And a 7-minute time cap, 963 rep scheme. Like I from a programming perspective, love this workout. Yeah. It's awesome. And again, too, you and I were talking about this beforehand, like 135 pound snatches for me at this given time is like 90% of my 1 rep max at this given time. Yeah. You know, as were some of the more elite, this is like 65% for them. So they're going unbroken on this. And I have to like take every rep one at a time and make sure I've got all my technique dialed in, because you don't want to waste a rep. That's a lot of effort for me to hit a 90% over and over again. So I was kind of worried about it. I knew it was going to be a slow grind, and honestly, I didn't think I was going to finish the 9. Like I thought the 9 was going to take me a very long time, and I would just finish the box jumps at the 7-minute mark. But I got a little bit further than that, so I was
like a bit further than that. Like you did really well. Yeah. And let's talk about the box jumps, because that was a 30-inch jump.
Again, too, like something on a normal given day is no problem for me. And I've done that a lot too.
I've seen you jump higher than that, right?
and burpee box jump at that height, I have a lot of confidence in. But man, like when I my warm up there and I fell on the practice rep, and then you're just like, shit, I got to slow down. And so, you know, that part I wanted to move a lot quicker at, because I was moving so slow with the snatches. But like you get up out of that burpee, and it's not even like getting up out of the burpee. It's the moment when you go to load, and when that force like transfers off the ground, your legs are like, no. Your legs feel like they weigh 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was barely clearing that box. And I mean, I saw the videos and stuff after. I actually had a lot of height clearing the box.
Like, they looked good.
I assure you it did not feel that way.
Yeah, we talked about that after.
So that was hard. That was a very hard 7 minutes. But that was probably the first workout, how I told you I had that moment. Mm-hmm. And then this one was like a probably more pivotal workout for me in regards to something like that. Yeah. That workout was hard. And the whole weekend was hard. And as I was getting warmed up for this, and even before that, I didn't want to leave the house.
Yeah, you were texting me.
I was like, I have nothing left in the tank.
Yep.
And I know that these people are coming. So that makes me at least drive to the gym.
Yeah.
And I get here and I am just so sore, trying to mobilize, like do all these things. And I'm starting to get warmed up, and this empty bar feels like 100 pounds. And I walked over to you, you're by the plates, and I say to you, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I just don't have it in me. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, okay, we'll just postpone it tomorrow.
No, I texted you that before you came. I was like, we'll just do it tomorrow.
And there's like all these people sitting here.
Like, yeah, people are coming.
And I'm just, and like you said it to me, and I was like, I can't just turn around and be like, okay, guys, we're just shutting this down and not doing it. Plus, I would have been like so sore the next day.
Yeah.
And so you said that to me, and I just happened to like look up, and I looked over, and our three of our CrossFit Teens kids they had stood up, and they were relocating under my name placard against the wall to go and sit closer and sit together. And just that, like I'm thankful that I happened to turn my head at that given moment, because as soon as I saw the three of them like stand up and moving, like that right there was like why I needed to do this.
Yeah.
You know, it like, yeah, all the members sitting there, but like here were these three kids that I know that they look up to me and want to do stuff like this in their life. And like, just in general, like this was a very, like, I didn't want to be doing this. There's so many other things I'd rather do. This is really hard, and you just have to persevere through it and remember why you're doing it. So that was a big moment for me. Mm-hmm. So I got it up and knocked it out.
You did well. Like, I thought you did well.
And then I finished the workout and I had to leave because I was like crying, like hyperventilating and crying. And no way was I letting everybody see that.
And I was like, okay, I gotta make sure nobody walks outside right now. Like, how do I keep everybody in the gym? Because I knew exactly what was happening. Like, I knew you were having a moment. I was like, okay, so what do I do here? Thankfully, they all kind of congregated and stayed in the gym. And I was like, okay, good. Like, because I knew that's where you were. And what you were doing.
I was in pure hyperventilation mode. Like, I couldn't breathe. I was just like sucking wind up against Mark's truck and just like full out crying. So like crying and hyperventilating I haven't had a moment like that in a lot of years. And which I was thinking to myself as I was like trying to gasp for air.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I used to sit outside the sidewalk at the old gym in tears because my workouts are being really hard or something. So it's been a while.
Yeah, it was a tough weekend.
It was, yeah. Mentally tough. Well, I'm physically tough, but like I'd probably say more so mentally. And I'm not conditioned for that, you know, and that's part of how my training was all those years. Is like, you're not just conditioning yourself physically, you're also doing it mentally, because that toll is so it's just a lot, you know?
Well, I think we can look at it in terms of like recovery, because that certainly isn't the same, right? Like, and when you were competing, let's say like full time, if that was your thing, like we've talked about this before, like sleep was a big deal, and nutrition was a big deal, and stress management, and like that looked completely different than it does now. And you can clearly tell that it plays a huge role.
It definitely does. And that too, I've been out of practice, just even recovery general principles. Like I've been out of practice of that.
Yeah.
You know, half the time I don't even warm up before I start my workout. And like here I was having to like, thankfully my warm up routine always was like very ritual and routine for me, and I was able just to like pull it out and go right back into it. You know, so I mean, had a glass of wine on Friday night.
That was maybe my fault.
Never would have done that before.
No, you wouldn't have.
Yeah,
no, definitely not.
And that was probably also something, and I was having this conversation with somebody the other morning in one of my classes, that the nutrition aspect of it, of not just like the leading up to, but like being in the moment of that competition, you're not really taking in solid food. Like you are basically trying to maintain like as much calories as you can, and you know, make sure you're getting the right recovery type of food. For the majority, it's like mashed up or liquid or like soft, and I just don't enjoy how that makes me feel. Like, yeah.
So we had a steak.
Yeah, so we had a big steak and a glass of wine.
Gotta do what you gotta do. So overall feelings of the weekend?
I had fun. I'm glad that I did it.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, probably. I would do it because the members want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, they get excited for that, and I maybe don't see it as enamoring as they do. But hey, if I can be a part of that with them and pull them into it and create that excitement for them, so that they get to see me in maybe a different light than they might normally, and be a part of that, like, that's fine. I can do that and provide that for them, and you know, I get what I need out of it, and just create some fun for the weekend.
Did you really get what you did? More than you bargained for? Okay, so let's circle back, because we talked about, you briefly mentioned intentional workouts, and this is something you and I talked about, and I think it's something like worth talking about with regards to like intended stimulus and what a workout should look like. Because we did see you do that just because you can kind of thing, because that's what was required of you. But when we would go to do it in like a class setting, we would change that so that we were reaching the intended stimulus.
Yeah. I mean, take that handstand push-up workout, for example, because that was the very first like clear, I'm not going to do this as it's intended.
Exactly.
That workout was intended to be fast. It was meant to be done unbroken, all aspects of it. And, you know, 3 rounds of one portion was supposed to take you like 2 minutes or less type of thing. And if I would have joined in with the class when we had done it with the class, I would have approached it entirely different. I would have scaled the handstand push-ups to something that would enable me to do 10 reps unbroken repeatedly, like it was meant to be. You know, so that you could achieve the type of stimulus it was supposed to have. Same thing with the snatch and the burpee box jump workout. I would knock that weight back to something that's more applicable to 65-70% for myself, so that I could maybe possibly go unbroken and hit it at the type of speed that workout is meant to be. It's a different workout. You know, what I did compared to some of those guys doing it in 2-3 minutes, those are 2 very different workouts.
Well, like even knocking that box down, so there's no hesitation. So it's like a quick down and up and over thing. Would you change anything on like the wall ball rowing one? No. Or just your approach?
Just my approach. And honestly, I would almost even change my approach on the greater side, you know, because had I been doing it fresh, like if I were to go and do this now, then I would still approach it with the same load, but I would just change my mental approach to it so that I could elicit the type of unbroken sets it's supposed to have. You know? But I mean, fatigue played a huge factor in that one. So
I guess it just comes back to,
you know, and the same thing with the second one, like take the JHC for example. So there's one where I wouldn't scale the movement because I've been doing full range. I just haven't been doing that volume. So maybe it's like half the volume or a quarter of the volume, because at most I'd been doing sets of 15, you know, so it would look a little bit different for me in that respect too. Would I have done 6 rope climbs? No, because those rope climbs are meant to even be all the way up, slide down, touch the ground, go right back up too. Not slide down,
walk around
5 minutes like I was.
Look at your judge. Ask twice how many more you have to do, because I'm pretty sure you did that a few times. And I guess that goes back to CrossFit as a sport, which is what you were doing that weekend, and CrossFit for health and well-being and being the best version of yourself. Like very, very different. Which is what we practice in our classes, which is fantastic. And And I hope that weekend and even this podcast kind of sheds light on that, like how it looks so very different when you're doing it as a sport, and what that workout should be and what it should look like versus what we do in class.
Yeah. And what it needs to be for you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Any other comments about the weekend? Aha moments?
Not really. I think me personally, I appreciated the opportunity to tap into that like competitive mode of mine. You know, it's been a little bit dormant for the last like year and a half while I haven't been refereeing, because that's where I get to shine that there. But I think just like,
in our online competition together, didn't make that shine?
It's just like remembering that like, oh yeah, I do have this side to me, and it has its places and times where I can bring it out. And it felt good to know that I still have that ability to use it. And probably more so that like, I enjoyed what I was doing while I was doing it, you know, that this, although I don't compete anymore, and it had left a sour taste in my mouth for a very long time, that I now can enjoy it on more of a fun.
Kind of like on your terms, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If we look like to next year, and let's say they do this exactly the same way next year, because who knows, they could change it again. Would you do anything differently kind of leading up to the Open, leading up to quarterfinals? Are you going to change anything?
No, because I went into all of it with no expectations. I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to enjoy the Open with everyone else, and I did. And then I wanted to, and when I actually, like, I didn't even know that this existed, because I hadn't been paying attention, and I didn't know what the qualification standards were. Hadn't been paying attention. So it was a complete surprise to me when I got the email in my inbox, and I was like no hesitation. I was like, all right, let's do it.
This will be fun.
Yeah. And it was. So would I prepare for it? No, not my dream.
Yeah, you've said that a few times.
But I'm glad that I can say that, though, you know.
Right.
I'm not trying to hold on to it for something that's not what I want anymore. So it's okay. We all grow, and our life ebbs and flows, as I say.
Cool. There, quarterfinals.
All right. Well, hopefully our listeners got a little bit of insight into what that weekend might have looked like for me, and like everybody involved too.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it was good.
There was a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, man, I love talking about this stuff. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You follow all of our socials, or if you don't, you can find us on the links in the show notes. Yeah, I love talking about this stuff, so I'm glad we could do a little podcast on it.
Cool.
Episode 39, quarterfinals.